From a poor immigrant boy working 12-hour shifts in a cotton mill to the richest man in the world. This is the story of a man who built bridges that connected America, forged the steel that raised skyscrapers into the clouds, and then did something absolutely crazy with his fortune. He gave almost all of it away. Andrew Carnegie didn't just shape the steel industry, he shaped the very definition of what it means to be wealthy in America. But the question is, was he a hero or a villain? By the end of this video, you'll understand why that answer isn't as simple as you think. Ski Ice Imig Riot November 25, 1835, Dunfermline, Scotland. Andrew Carnegie was born into a family of handloom weavers, a trade that was rapidly dying thanks to the Industrial Revolution's new power looms. His father, William Carnegie, was an active political reformer, a Chartist fighting for workers' rights. Young Andrew grew up watching his family struggle as machines replaced skilled craftsmen. By 1848, the economic depression had devastated the Carnegie family. They made a desperate decision to immigrate to America. The family joined a Scottish colony near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, seeking the opportunities that Scotland could no longer provide. Andrew was just 12 years old when he started working at the Anchor Cotton Mill as a bobbin boy, earning barely enough to survive. But here's where the Carnegie story gets interesting. While other kids might have given up, Andrew kept learning. He attended night school. He educated himself. He refused to let poverty define his future. At 14, Carnegie became a telegraph messenger. He didn't just deliver messages, he learned the entire telegraph system inside and out. This curiosity, this relentless drive to understand how things work, would become his greatest weapon. THRILO80 Thomas Scott, superintendent of the Pennsylvania Railroad's Western Division, noticed something special about the young telegraph operator. He made Carnegie his personal secretary, a decision that would change American history. Carnegie didn't waste this opportunity. He learned the railroad business from the inside. He understood logistics management, and most importantly, he learned how to make money work for him through investments. During the Civil War, Carnegie worked in Washington as Scott's right-hand man, managing military transportation. But while serving his country, he was also making strategic investments: oil wells, iron companies, railroads, sleeping cars. By age 30, Carnegie had stakes in steamers, railroads, ironworks, and oil wells. But Andrew Carnegie wasn't satisfied with just being wealthy. He wanted to build something that would last forever. THB Ray G. Hakanji DVRYTIG in 1865, Carnegie founded the Keystone Bridge Company. His mission: replace dangerous wooden railroad bridges with iron ones. But his most ambitious project would test everything he believed about engineering and business: the Eads Bridge across the Mississippi River at St. Louis would be the largest bridge ever built, and the first to use steel instead of iron. This was revolutionary. This was dangerous. This was exactly what Carnegie lived for. Here's the problem back then: 1 out of every 4 bridges failed, sending trains, passengers, and cargo plunging into the water below. The public was terrified of this new steel bridge. So what did Carnegie do on opening day in 1874? He led a parade across the bridge alongside a circus elephant. Why an elephant? Because people believed elephants had instincts that prevented them from crossing unstable structures. As that massive elephant walked confidently across the bridge, the crowd's fear melted away. They followed, and history was made. Carnegie had just proven that steel was the future, and he was going to dominate that future. Carnegie Steel EMPIR in 1875, Carnegie opened his first steel plant, the J. Edgar Thomson Steel Works in Braddock, Pennsylvania. He brought the Bessemer process to America, a revolutionary technology that could transform pig iron into steel quickly and cheaply. But Carnegie's genius wasn't just in making steel. It was in his business strategy. He pioneered something called vertical integration, controlling every single step of production. Carnegie didn't just buy iron ore, he bought the mines in Minnesota's Mesabi Iron Range. He didn't just buy coal, he acquired entire coal fields and the ovens that processed it into coke. He even owned the railroads and ships that transported everything. By 1889, his holdings were consolidated into the Carnegie Steel Company. By the 1890s, it was the largest and most profitable steel company in the world, producing approximately 2,000 tons daily. Carnegie's obsession with efficiency was legendary. He relentlessly drove down costs, adopted the newest technologies, and undersold every competitor. His steel made bridges and skyscrapers not just possible but affordable. Steel fed America's explosive growth, accelerating the Industrial Revolution. In 1900, America produced over 11 million tons of steel, more than England and Germany combined, and Andrew Carnegie was the undisputed steel king. But here's where the story gets complicated. While Carnegie became fabulously wealthy, his workers suffered brutal conditions. 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week. One annual holiday, the 4th of July. Men worked in temperatures that could kill, drinking 2 buckets of water per shift as sweat poured down their bodies. Hard. "I guess it's hard," said one worker. "I lost 40 pounds the first 3 months I came into this business. It sweats the life out of a man." average workers earned about $10 a week, just above the poverty line. Meanwhile, it took the wages of nearly 4,000 steelworkers to match Carnegie's earnings. In 1892, everything exploded at the Homestead Steel Works. Workers, represented by the Amalgamated Association of Iron and Steel Workers, protested wage cuts. Carnegie's business partner Henry Clay Frick hired 300 Pinkerton guards to break the strike. What happened next shocked the world. A violent clash erupted. Gunfire, chaos. 7 workers and 3 guards died. Many more were wounded. Where was Carnegie during all this? In Scotland. When reporters reached him, he called the violence deplorable, but claimed he had given up all active control of the business. Critics called it cowardice. Carnegie called it delegation. The truth, it was probably both. The strike was crushed, the union was broken, and Carnegie's reputation should have been destroyed. But instead, T. Gospel Ovelch in 1889, the same year he consolidated Carnegie Steel, Andrew Carnegie published an essay that would define modern philanthropy, The Gospel of Wealth. His message was revolutionary and controversial. Carnegie argued that wealthy men should live without extravagance, provide moderately for their families, and use the rest of their fortunes to benefit society. He wrote one of the most famous quotes in American history: "The man who dies thus rich dies disgraced." Carnegie believed the wealthy were merely trustees of their riches, responsible for administering them for the common good. But, and this was crucial, charity should empower people to help themselves, not create dependency. His philosophy was tested by the Homestead disaster, but Carnegie doubled down on philanthropy. He began giving away his fortune at an unprecedented scale. In 1901, at age 65, Carnegie sold his steel empire to banker J.P. Morgan for $480 million, about $15 billion in today's money. His personal share was $225 million, making him the richest man in America. Morgan consolidated Carnegie Steel with other companies to create U.S. Steel Corporation, valued at $1.4 billion, the world's first billion-dollar corporation. And then Carnegie did something most billionaires today still won't do. He gave almost all of it away. Luverais A and B wound. Why did Carnegie choose to build libraries? The answer takes us back to his childhood. As a poor boy in Pittsburgh, Carnegie had no access to education. But a retired merchant named Colonel Anderson loaned books from his small library to local working boys, including Andrew. Those books changed his life. Carnegie never forgot. Between 1886 and 1919, he funded 2 509 library buildings across America and the English-speaking world, nearly funded 700 in the United States alone. His donations totaled over $40 million for libraries. But that was just the beginning. Carnegie established the Carnegie Corporation of New York, Carnegie Mellon University, Carnegie Hall in New York City, the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, Carnegie Institute of Pittsburgh, the Carnegie Hero Fund, the Carnegie Museums of Pittsburgh. He funded research that led to the discovery of insulin. He built 7,000 church organs. He established foundations for teaching and scientific advancement. By his death on August 11, 1919, Andrew Carnegie had given away $350 million, approximately $6.9 billion in today's money, almost 90% of his fortune. Another $125 million was placed with the Carnegie Corporation to continue his work after his death. So, was Andrew Carnegie a hero or a villain? The truth is, he was both. He was a man who treated his workers harshly, who crushed unions, who profited from brutal working conditions. The average steelworker in 1890 experienced what sociologists called old age at 40, their bodies destroyed by relentless labor. But he was also a man who believed, the man who dies rich dies disgraced, and actually lived by those words. A man who gave away nearly everything he had to build institutions that educated millions, preserved peace, and advanced human knowledge. Carnegie's legacy forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. Can good works erase bad deeds? Does transformative philanthropy excuse ruthless business practices? Is it okay to build an empire on the backs of workers if you ultimately give that wealth back to society? So what do you think? Was Andrew Carnegie a robber baron or a philanthropic hero? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your perspective on this complex legacy. If you enjoyed diving deep into this fascinating piece of American history, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're exploring more stories of the people who built, and sometimes broke, the modern world. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next video, where we'll explore another titan of industry whose story will blow your mind. Thanks for watching, and remember, history isn't about memorizing dates. It's about understanding the choices people made and asking ourselves what we would have done differently.